Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to MWMB. We are back with yet another video episode that no one will watch, but will thrill
Oh,
us.
that's not true. That's not true. People watch our stuff.
That's true. There are at least two people out there that watch at least 5 seconds of this show every week.
Yeah, they just say we laugh too much.
Yeah, I don't laugh anymore. Anyway, I'm Alex Jeffries, and coming to me from his secret summertime lair, or actually his, do supervillains fly south for the winter? I guess the answer would be yes, because from somewhere deep inside his Caribbean hideout, the Canadian refugee from the right wing is joining us now. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome my co-host, Jim the Hammer.
The Hammer.
Whoopee! I don't even have a show title for this week, Jim. I got nothing. When you said let's do a show this week, I just thought,
What? There's stuff going on in the news, Alex. There is bigly stuff stuff in the news. Would you like some of the? Would you like some help out here for filling in our 14 minutes of fame?
oh yeah, sure, why not? Let's. What do you got?
In Pensacola, Florida. Of course, this is Florida news. Pensacola, Florida. A 23-year-old man was arrested for animal cruelty because it was shown that over the last 2 years he was having familiar relations with his pet pit bull, and. And the pit bull's name was Lady.
The pit bull's name was Lady?
Lady. Now, the whole family was in the house.
And the guy's name was Steve Bannon, right?
Whoa. The whole family knew this was going on because they'd see this boy taken up to the room and the dog would make howling noises. And it wasn't until somebody mentioned it to a neighbor that the cops came.
You know, I am having the damnedest time not seeing this as a metaphor for Donald Trump's America.
I think he was arrested on Inauguration Day.
Yeah.
Squeal like a pig. All I can see is Ned Beatty and his BVDs now.
Yeah.
See, there's stuff going on. And did you see the monster gator in Florida, that big humpback giant thing?
Oh, yeah, I did see that. That's right by you, isn't it? I'm sorry, we don't know where you are.
If I were in Florida, it's just down the street.
Sorry.
It's just down the street from my cousin's house. Now, the day after these guys filmed this 14-foot behemoth, about 100 tourists or so came to go, and they're like throwing people, they're jumping the fence to go out and find the gator. 100 tourists and a 14-foot gator. What could possibly go wrong?
Nothing.
Just leave your wallet on this side of the fence, buddy. Go on ahead.
Make sure you wear your identification bracelet. We have to go poking through the little piles of gator poo with a stick, but at least we'd finally figure out who you were.
See, there's great stuff going on. And does the mainstream media report this good stuff? No.
No.
Only here at MWMB.
No, they're obsessed with stupid things like journalists getting arrested for covering protests and
you know what? Just don't be there. Don't be in the riot. You don't get arrested.
That's right. If you don't give these people a voice, you don't help them break the law.
All right. Now, do you really think the reporter from Russia Today is going to be held for too long?
Yeah.
I was reading that. Oh yeah, an RT. Oh yeah, that's going to go over big.
Yeah, well, actually, I'm sure, and that was what was interesting about this. You're right. For those of you that weren't paying attention, which seems fully 38% of you, there were several reporters, and these were not big name reporters, to be fair. These were people that were bloggers. They were actual reporters. They had credentials. They weren't just, they just weren't like Jim and I who just decided, we're journalists.
I have credentials.
But
I have credentials. Look, I got a CD. I got the instructions to build a couch. I got all kinds of credentials.
That's right.
Here.
I got my press card off the back of a Cheerio box last week. Anyway, and other reporters were from RT, which shows up on social media quite a bit. It is Russia Today. It is part of the Russian. Basically, it's the part of the Russian equivalent, I think, to like Voice of America. You know, it's basically, and they have been active over here for a long time, stirring up dissent and making us angry with each other. My feeling was personally that those Russian reporters were probably instructed to get arrested. You know, it's like, hey, good idea, make Americans crazy. Let's get you arrested. We have freedom of speech thing. Then Americans hate each other even more. That means we can keep the Crimea.
Cry me a river.
That's right.
Hey, all right, yeah, but you know that's old news. That's from what last Friday.
Yeah, exactly. There are
That's
so
old
many
news.
things happening.
What's happened since? Oh, let's see. There's the wall's back in the news,
Oh yeah.
and yeah, and Mexico's going to pay for that with the 20% tariff that we're going to
That
have
the
to
American
pay.
shopper is going to pay.
Does Donald Trump know that the engine in that car that he's driving around, that Chevy, was probably made in Mexico?
Jim, I hate to say it, you're starting to sound more like
This guy's too far right even for me. Now I realize that I am not a big fan of vegetables and fruit because if it didn't moo before you eat it, it's not worth eating.
yeah.
But like 69, 70% of our fruits and vegetables come from, wait a minute, Mexico. But now a guy you
And the
did
other
not vote for.
31% apparently come from New York.
Oh, they come from out. We got a little. Oh no, that's a pot garden out there. Anyway, that's one of my heroes and a guy you did not vote for several years ago, John McCain, actually came out today and said, well, he didn't actually say this. This is paraphrasing. This is an alternative fact. He said, "This is crap."
Yeah, I John McCain is crazy, but I do like him, and if we're going to get out of this, it's only going to be because of people like John McCain who are going to say, they're going to stand up for it. Meanwhile, the circus does continue. The one thing that I swore I was going to put this on, although when I first heard it, it was pretty obscure, but it's so ridiculous that a lot of people have got it now. But just in case you missed, I do want to share with you one of the things that did happen this week. This was one of my favorite quotes, that not one of the ones that sent me to bed in absolute fear, but just
Does the
one that
word
shook
does
my
the word bigly appear?
yeah, no, it's this little snippet from Education Secretary DeVos's confirmation hearing. She's asked by a senator from Connecticut. You'll hear where does she think? Now this is the guy that represents Sandy Hook, where all those poor kids were killed, and he's wondering what would it be okay if guns, should we have guns near schools? And so this is her answer. So let me just play this for you right now.
Do you think that guns have any place in or around schools?
I think that's best left to locales and states to decide. If the underlying question is,
You can't say definitively today that guns shouldn't be in schools?
well, I will refer back to Senator Enzi and the school that he was talking about in Wapiti, Wyoming. I think probably there, I would imagine that there's probably a gun in the school to protect from potential grizzlies.
We need guns in schools to protect the little kiddies from bears.
Wapadoo, Wapadoo, Wyoming, king of the wild frontier. Shot himself a bar when he was only 3. Principal Johnson.
The funny thing is they called up that school out in Wapiti, Wyoming, and they asked him, "Did you keep a gun in the school for the grizzly bears? Because they are right next to Yellowstone. It's more legitimate than it might sound." But he says, "No, actually, we just built a fence."
A wall.
Oh,
They built a wall.
Hey, there you go. We built a wall. So the answer is not violence. The answer is a wall. We've figured that one out. But yeah, no, I just couldn't get, yes, let's have guns in schools because of bears, which is an especially huge problem in Connecticut.
Well, I know I saw a moose once near a school.
Yeah.
They can be pretty nasty.
Oh yeah.
Time for a Kalashnikov.
Yeah. You'd have to have a pretty big gun and be a pretty good shot too, because
So, Alex, let's wait a minute. Since we're going to be talking, I'm going to talk about Donnie a little bit. I got to get my box of wine here and just fill a giant coffee mug full of it. Speaking of alternative facts, I have all my luxurious brown hair. I weigh 145 pounds, and I have my 32 waist back.
that's right.
That's an alternative fact.
I like these alternative facts. All these are great.
It's easy to build a wall because, alternative fact, the U.S.-Mexican border is only 700 meters long.
That's right. Hey, in all fairness, they're not going to build the wall everywhere, just where it's easy. That's what they said. They're not going to build it over the mountains or through the rivers or everything. They're just going to put it, where it's easy to build it. Which, if you ask me, if you have a wall that's got, well, I don't know, ends on it and doesn't go like from barrier to barrier, then what you've got is a little gate that people walk around.
You can get an extension ladder at Home Depot for about $39.
Well,
I could put 10, 12, 14 immigrants over that.
I was going to say, and a lot cheaper in Mexico where they actually make the extension ladder, which we will now be paying about $100 for the extension ladder. But in Mexico, they'll have a surplus, so you can get one for about $5.
And and what is his obsession about size? I mean, first, you have
I think we all know what that's about.
The
Jim.
debate. I got no problem. Now, my inauguration was the biggest. Those pictures are lies.
Tiny hands, Jim.
Alternative
That's what
fact.
it's about. Tiny hands.
And the sad part is, some of this stuff is so easily disproven that why?
Because
I know.
Go ahead.
Why not?
Well, there is the one thing is that, if you get people arguing enough, this is one theory that I've heard, and it actually makes
Wait a minute, I'm having
sense.
another drink. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. If you get people arguing enough, you look at it this way, you got 30% of us that will not believe Trump under any circumstances. And then you've got 30% of people who will believe Trump under every circumstance. And then you got that other sort of roughly 30, 33, 35% in the middle that don't really know what to think. Well, if you can keep them confused, and if you can keep them, well, the news media says this, but the president says that, well, there's no real way to know. There's no real way to know. I can't trust the news media. I can't trust. Well, if you can keep that up long enough, then you can keep that middle percent unenergized, uninterested, tuned out, and your job is a lot easier. I mean, don't forget, this is a guy who he did not win the popular vote. He mobilized a sizable minority.
What's the number up to? 5 million illegals voted for Hillary?
The thing about that, Jim, and it. If Democrats were so good at faking all these votes, don't you think we would have faked a couple of them where we actually needed the electoral vote? Jesus, it's so stupid.
Let me check on what the El Jefe has to say today. Oh, congratulations, Secretary Mattis. All right, that's all I had to. Oh well, I promise I'm following him on Twitter. It's driving me crazy.
I hope you got rubber boots on if you're following closely.
I promise that our administration will always, capital letters, have your back. We'll always be with you. Wasn't that a song? I will always be with you will always be with you. Wait a minute, another song. And the tweets go on, and the tweets go on. I don't care if what I say is true. Mexicans are here. Syrians coming too.
Oh God. Oh,
I'm sorry.
my God. You know, I
Hey,
just,
we ran out of time, and we're just now rolling. And
yeah,
the
I
tweets
know,
go
but
on.
we do have
Hey,
to leave
tweets,
it there. And
tweets. I have a Twitter account now,
well, hey, what is? Oh, yeah, go ahead. Tell us what it is.
and I'm sure one of us will roll it under the thing there. Follow me at hashtag MWMB the Hammer.
Whoa, MWMB the Hammer. You know, I was so inspired that I also created an account so that I could tweet along with the twit in chief, and but I have to say I haven't really done anything with it. But my
Well, I haven't either
hashtag is
until we announced it.
it's
What's
something
yours?
else. But yeah, I'll put them down here. They should be, look for them down here
Breaking
somewhere
news.
in those fancy
Breaking
titles.
news.
Anyway, there is one. I'm sure we can go on, and there's. I'm just not having a lot of fun. I'll be honest with you. This administration has really got me down. I don't even feel like joking anymore. It's just like, what the? I mean,
We always have Florida.
I don't understand how decent people. I mean, and there are some decent people. I mean, not everybody who's. In fact, a lot of people I know who support Trump are neither stupid, nor crazy, nor particularly evil, and yet. I have to admit that of all the stress that's going on, trying to understand, because I also know that I'm not stupid. You can make all the jokes you want, but I don't understand it. I just don't understand it, and I'm so afraid for this country.
Well,
But that's all seriousness, and that's all in the past.
and that has nothing to do with our broadcasts.
Yeah, I got one that I want to leave you with this week that's a lot more positive. One more news story. One more, as the Hammer would say, non-political. This item comes from channel3000.com, which is WISC-TV in Wisconsin. And it is... If we were in our old radio show, we used to do the weekly salute, and I do miss doing the salute. So I think maybe I'm going to bring it back, at least for this week, maybe permanently. This week, I would like to salute the unidentified woman from Mauston, Wisconsin. Now, here's the story. The police are asking folks to look at a picture that was caught on a security camera and help them identify this woman. What did she do, you might ask? Well,
What did
I
she
will
do?
tell you. What did she do?
What did she do?
Jim, she walked into a store. She forgot to pay for a cheese and walked out. Pretty standard case of shoplifting, you might say, but there is more.
That's an alternative fact.
This is an alternative fact. The woman then, short time later, came back to the store and returned the half-eaten cheese.
Guilt. It was a clear case of guilt.
No.
No?
She returned it because she said it tasted funny.
The woman's a hero. She's a hero.
Stole a cheese and returned it to the store because it didn't taste right. This is the America that I know and love. And so, unidentified lady way out there in Wisconsin, you cheese-stealing maniac, you. We here at MWMB
Salute you.
That's all I got this week, Jim. I can't do it anymore.
And the tweets go on. And the tweets go on. Roll the music.
Yeah, we're rolling the music. That's it for this week. You guys have a great time. And get out there and follow, what was it, MWMB, the Hammer,
The Hammer.
whatever, on the bottom. It's right down there. I'm taking a lot of time to put it in. What?
It starts tonight.
It starts tonight. On Twitter, the resistance begins.
Oh, we'll talk about that next week.
That's right.
Park
the Hammer
Rangers leading
versus
the resistance.
at real Donald Trump next week on MWMB.
Boop, 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 boop.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well,